Hi everyone, it's Tracy Lewin.
And Peter Murray, good morning or good afternoon, Tracy.
No, you're still right. It's good morning.
Oh, good morning. We're a bit earlier today than normal.
Yes, we are. And I have to say, I have been watching this Bitcoin price today, and it's been doing remarkably well. It's already on 1,135.
Amazing. The Bitcoin price is approaching its all-time highs again.
Yes, remember the all-time high was something like 1,250 or 60 odd. So we still
Yeah,
got another 100 odd dollars to go. But you know what? $100 in the day of Bitcoin is not a lot.
well, it's 10% from here.
Yeah, 10% from here. So let's see what's going on. But I mean, if you actually have a look at the graph in the last week, it's been on a slow rise. It's been on a slow rise. But in a week, just hold on a second, 135, and then a week ago it was 998.
Yeah,
So it's
amazing.
so it's done
So
well.
the Bitcoin price is strong, and now the news that's coming out is positive. So let's go to the news and see what's happening.
Okay, one thing that could have actually happened, could have actually pushed this price up was Donald Trump on the 1st of April said, he tweeted, I am Satoshi Nakamoto.
Well, I have to congratulate our Bit Media readers and followers. They are not so stupid. Most of them realized that this was an April Fool's joke.
Yes, it was very funny, I have to say. So we had lots of shares, we had lots of laughs, and lots of people said, okay, fine, April Fools. But that was a good one.
Yes, I must say, it would actually be very funny if that happened.
Yeah.
Or maybe not that funny, but anyway.
Well,
So
actually, you know what? He's surrounded by quite a few Bitcoin believers. So you just don't know what he's doing, in the background.
fortunately, he didn't call us out for fake news. Hopefully, he has a sense of humor if he ever sees this.
I actually think he does have a sense of humor. I think he gets ripped off a lot. Okay, so just talking about the price again. Here's an article: market update. Bitcoin bulls may be prepping for a change. So it's just really talking about last week being pretty stable, and it could be getting ready to charge again. And so we see a little bit of it today. So let's see what this week's going to bring, Peter.
I still maintain that if we can go above 1,250 and stay there for a bit, we can charge all the way to 1,500.
Yes.
And my personal view is that the market is strong. It absorbed a lot of negative news about when we had this uncertainty between Bitcoin Unlimited and Bitcoin Core, and it still hasn't been resolved.
No, but there's some news a little bit further up about that as well.
Yeah.
And it just seems to be that actually, actually, before I start talking about that, let's just go to this other April Fool's article. Bitcoin reaches a grand compromise on the scalability debate. And really, this is key figures of, Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin Unlimited and all the miners, and, they're out and about enjoying meetings, talking, drinking, laughing. So another one of those. So but of course, it's not such a laughing matter, but it's very serious as well.
Well, in April, you actually looks like you've got to just be able to distinguish between real news and fake news.
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, you know what? I found that it was very difficult to find news articles on the first because a lot of people actually decided not to publish much on the day, just in case people thought it was fake news. And in actual fact, I did the same. We did one there was a blog post on April the 1st being the first day that Japan actually, the bill goes into effect, when Bitcoin is legal payment system in Japan. So definitely had to post that before the 1st of April. Otherwise, people could have thought that's an April Fool's joke because it's really, really great news.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it's now done and dusted.
Yes, done and dusted. And then, yeah, let's see what actually happens, from that. So Bitcoin versus gold, here's another comparison. This is somebody's take on what's the better long-term bet. because of the different range, sorry, because they're in the close price range, that type of thing. But as you've said before, Peter, these are two very, very different commodities.
It's totally different in my view.
Mm.
So I don't understand people's fascination with this correlation. But anyway,
Yes.
let's see.
Okay, Bahrain signs fintech pact with Singapore amid plan for country-level blockchain adoption. And as I've also said before, that the Dubai is very, very focused on getting fintech and getting blockchain technology and everything into their government services. And of course, with Bahrain, a country right close by to the UAE, there's no doubt that there's going to be a bit of spillover.
Yes, absolutely. And it looks to me like the Middle East and the East is running ahead. The governments are very, very proactive in getting involved in Bitcoin and blockchain.
Well, actually, yeah, you're totally right. I mean, now we've got, in the Far East, Japan and China. Here in the Middle East, obviously the UAE is the one that's really put their foot forward. But everyone else is probably going to follow, which is fantastic.
Yes.
And here's just an article on Bitcoin adoption in Taiwan. Definitely a place to go to, I would think, and particularly if you're into Bitcoin. You can travel around there with a laptop and a backpack and be happy and go to night markets and eat good food. Yeah, so let's go a bit further up. We still have so many people asking how to get started with Bitcoin, and this blog just points everybody in the right direction. So it's a good reference point.
Yes, I mean that video helps a lot, and if you're not started yet, I mean it's always time to get started in something new. Bitcoin is still in its infancy.
Totally. And Pete, I've just come to this page or rather this creative that says the expert in something was once a beginner. And this is really a link into our YouTube channel. And honestly, I must thank our YouTube supporters, and thank you so much for the over 2,000 likes. I mean, or subscribers. We're so excited about that. So thanks very much.
Yes, our YouTube channel subscribers doubled in the first 3 months of this year.
Yes, it did.
So that is amazing. And thank you, Tracy, for doing all these explainer videos and everything you do on our YouTube channel.
No, well, that's a
It's
pleasure.
much appreciated. And thanks to all our fans and subscribers.
Yes, thanks very much. Sometimes we have some technical issues, but we're doing our best at the moment. And then, of course, Bitcoin adoption in Switzerland. Switzerland is definitely also moving straight ahead in terms of Bitcoin adoption, in terms of government as well, Peter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Switzerland is running ahead in Europe, that's for sure. We don't hear a lot from other European countries. We sometimes hear some rumblings from the European Union, but other than that, the news is from the Far East and the Middle East. That's where things are really happening with Bitcoin at the moment. And of course, Switzerland is right up there with them.
Yes. Well, Switzerland doesn't want to be left behind, that's for sure.
Well, Switzerland is like always a thought leader in these type of things, anything financial. And, the first country with cantons that accepted Bitcoin as payment for taxes and stuff like that. So, very progressive Switzerland.
Absolutely. Now, just getting back to this Bitcoin Unlimited, just a while ago, there was somebody who, challenged him, and he said that he would do a one-to-one swap, 60,000 Bitcoin for Bitcoin Unlimited tokens. And he hasn't come through on this deal, and apparently he did it on an open forum. And also we've seen that Bitcoin tokens have actually been dropping in value. But, as actually I think you mentioned earlier, how can you actually have tokens when this hasn't even happened yet?
Yeah, I mean, even to say the guy hasn't come through on the swap is also nonsense, because the whole point is Bitcoin Unlimited does not exist yet. So this whole issue about tokens and whatever. I don't know how exchanges can list tokens that hasn't been created. This is all a bunch of nonsense in my view. And people should be getting on with the things that are really important. That's developing applications and building businesses around, the currencies, the cryptocurrencies and stuff like that.
Yeah. But the interesting thing is these exchanges actually did list that the tokens. They did. Anyway, so blockchain startup singular DTV goes Hollywood. So very interesting concept with movies, media on the blockchain.
Yes, I mean that is a new thing that's happening all over, and very, very interesting development. Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, that's a place to watch, eh? So we'll be watching TV on our smartphones on the blockchain. Now there was somebody called Lerner, and he is actually a security expert from with Rootstock Smart Contracts, and he was just saying that in terms of this whole scalability thing, the block size should actually segregated witness 2 should have a block size change. But obviously going first with SegWit and then doing the blockchain, then doing the block size after that. So that's a new solution that's actually come up just recently in the last week.
Oh, that's very interesting. Let's see what they come up with.
Yeah, still, trying to get that scalability solution going. And this is there's an article here about Japan and the fact that Japan's government is working on a bill to amend the Banking Act.
Oh, that's interesting. So this is going to be even more productive for Bitcoin, I would believe.
Yeah, and it's actually concerning digital currencies as well as digital currency exchanges. So there's a lot of work that the Japanese are actually doing.
The Japanese have decided this is part of our economy, we're going to use it, not lose it.
Yes, and I mean they're going to win. They certainly are. Okay, this was just a Bitcoin mining fraud lawsuit moves forward in New Jersey. This is just a little bit of, if you want to know anything about something that happened in the mid 2014. But, let's not even go through that. Let's just move up. Oh yeah, here's another one. Investing in Bitcoin gives best returns.
So, I mean, in most countries, Bitcoin has outperformed anything else.
Yeah, well, today I had a look this morning, and a Bitcoin in exactly 1 year has grown more than 170%.
Amazing.
I mean, that's massive, really massive. And then here's another one. Canadian Bitcoin nodes reject Bitcoin Unlimited. They call it an altcoin. Now this is quite an interesting way of doing this. A few people, as well as the nodes, anybody involved in the Bitcoin ecosystem, businesses, users, all that type of stuff in Canada, they actually all got together and they've written a statement. It's called the Statement on Hard Fork by Canadian Economic Nodes, and it was posted to say that they are not interested in any kind of hard fork proposal, and so they definitely want to do segregated witness. So that's quite an interesting one. That they actually said nodes as well as users and business operators and that type of thing. We're not going to be interested in that for hard fork.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yes, I mean, taking a stand.
Yeah,
that's always good.
Well, taking a stand for Canada, which is great, which has now prompted me to do Bitcoin adoption in Canada.
Oh, excellent.
Okay, then, malware is a bit of a problem as well. And here's just an article on 5 top malware trends for Q1. Can you actually believe we're past Q1 already?
Yes, that is the most unbelievable thing about this year. It feels like yesterday we were talking about Christmas and now we're talking about Easter.
Oh no, it's crazy. So, law firms in Singapore and Malaysia launched fintech practice.
Yeah, this is the law firms are getting involved because all of these new companies and whatever, and this new type of transactions need new types of legal requirements, contracts, and stuff like this. So, yeah, very, very interesting. The lawyers are getting involved. They are understanding that there's a new economy. They're building practices around it. So, if you're looking for a job or looking for something, get involved in the new economy because this is going to be huge.
Absolutely, Peter. And you know, the other country that seems to be very involved as well is Singapore, because Singapore is getting involved in a hang of a lot of things. And of course, that's Far East again,
Absolutely. Singapore is also a thought leader in that area.
most definitely. And let's have a look here. Oh, this I also found pretty interesting. On peak or off peak, blocks emptier and spam free on weekends.
Mm.
I
Well,
actually,
that's very interesting. Well, that I think it's obvious that trading will be less on weekends because the banks are closed, the financial systems are closed, people have weekends, businesses are closed. So it does make sense.
mm. And Litecoin, and in fact, I'm doing explain a video on Litecoin as we speak. Litecoin prices jump 70% as market cap adds over $100 million. So there's been a bit of a surge here in Litecoin. So,
Also interesting.
yeah, look, Litecoin is actually going to have something like 84 million Litecoins eventually. And but they also follow, they're very closely related to Bitcoin, and they also follow, they're also on the blockchain, obviously, and they also do this halving every 4 years. The halving every 4 years seems to be something that many cryptocurrencies have taken from Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm not sure why Litecoin dropped this much, but a lot of these trading these altcoins are very, very speculative. So beware before you just jump in and say, I'm going to make a lot of money.
Well, talking about that, but Peter, we've actually seen that Dash has gone back quite substantially. You know, it was trading over $100 just a few weeks ago. And let me just have a look here. And it's now on $55.
So you've lost almost 50% of the value of your money if you put it down.
Yes.
And that's amazing.
Okay, here's the next article. Top 5 banking issues in Q1 2017. And really, this is, and I thought this was quite interesting too, because many people seem to think that uh, Bitcoin, that anything to do with the digital economy is, can be a little bit dodgy. But here, the banking system, I mean, you talk about Texas banks, there was a system outage. Then the Bank of New Zealand, major internet banking outage. There's another one here, Westpac, which is Australian banks, and then HSBC, and also Lloyd's.
Yes, this happens all the time.
Yeah, it happens all the time. And let's go up here, crypto and the IRS. So we always keep talking about in terms of paying taxes and everything. But there's a company that's brought out a new system, a software that can actually help people calculate what they owe the IRS. So if you're interested in that, go to this blog.
That's very, very interesting.
And of course, then the last blog was Bitcoin grows in value by 170%, which I've already mentioned. And I mean that's a massive amount. I think last year Bloomberg actually said that in 2016 Bitcoin grew about 133% in over last year, and it was the top performing currency in 2016. Now,
Well, that's amazing. I mean, people that got into Bitcoin early made tons of money. But here's the thing: this market hasn't even started. I mean, this economy is going to grow so much as more and more people adopt Bitcoin, more and more countries accept it is a payment system. this will grow exponentially still.
Yes. And talking about private blockchains, it says here how Cornell researchers are quietly reinventing private blockchains.
That's very interesting. I mean, private blockchains is also something that's growing by leap and bounds.
Yeah, and certainly not going to stop.
No.
And here's another one. There was actually an exchange, or rather some conference at the World Exchange Conference this week. It says yeah, Bitcoin wasn't a frequent topic of discussion, but they actually say that many employees are embracing the idea of trading with Bitcoin. So they're just saying that a lot of the people are doing it, but obviously it's not on any exchange at the moment, any stock exchange at the moment. But certainly people are dabbling.
Yeah. Again, speculative, so beware.
Yeah. So Peter, that's the end of our news today.
Wow.
And oh yes, here's SpongeBob. I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. Here he is running.
SpongeBob. I think SpongeBob and Patrick has his Bitcoin stash under the sea. Oh no, they don't have the Bitcoin stash. Mr. Krabs has the Bitcoin stash.
Okay. Well, anyway, thanks, Peter, and we'll chat again tomorrow.
We'll chat again tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.
All right. Cheers.